whoever we are today. So there's a sentence I like to use: what happens early in life lasts a lifetime. Lay the foundation in the first 5 years so that we're giving them a growth mindset. They're resilient, they're problem solving, they're critical thinkers, they're creative thinkers, they're empathetic, they're compassionate. They are problem solvers so that they're not dependent, and they have self-esteem and they have confidence. Like all of these things that make us who we are is more important than any other skill that's going to take them further in life, right? So if you want the compliance, if you want the children to listen to you, you got to up the connection. It's like a weighing scale. On one side is connection, one side is compliance. You are spending so much time correcting the child, you're forgetting to connect. And I know that parents are doing this thinking, this is the way I show love. I care about them, so of course I have to correct them. But you forgot the connection piece. So now I've changed my mindset. Now I feel like the more you connect, the less you correct. You have deposited in their emotional bank. They're more likely to listen to you. They're more likely to respect you because you're not giving them command and demand all day long.
Namaste, everyone. A very warm welcome to Yes Talks. Today's session is titled, Let's Talk About Getting Your Child Ivy League Ready. Our guest speaker is Ms. Prerna Richards. She's based in the USA, nationally recognized keynote speaker and recipient of the 2020 Susan Hargrave Trainer of the Year Award. With 40 years of experience in education, she is the founder of Together We Grow, an organization dedicated to professional development and behavior coaching that emphasizes play-based learning and social-emotional growth. Prerna is known for her practical, research-informed strategies that help educators transform challenges into opportunities for connection and growth. Guided by her belief that knowing better leads to doing better, she inspires and equips educators to create joyful, resilient, and thriving learning environments where every child can flourish. Welcome, Prerna. Thank you so much for joining. We are truly delighted to have you with us on the Yes platform today.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
So today's session will be in the conversation format, moderated by Dr. Ramesh Bijlani, who is a prolific writer and an inspirational speaker. Once a professor at AIMS New Delhi, he is now a spiritual seeker at Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch. Welcome, sir. I request you to take over the session, please.
Thank you, Arunima, and welcome, Prerna, on the Yes platform.
Thank you, Doctor.
The session is titled Getting Your Child Ivy League Ready. Now, this title assumes that getting the child Ivy League ready is at least one of the major goals. And most parents, even if for one reason or the other, and very often it's hypocrisy that they may say, well, that's not the goal of life and therefore we don't care. But all the same, it is true that no parent would mind if their child gets into an Ivy League institution. And uh, just for those who may not be so familiar with the academic scene in the US, the Ivy League means a group of, initially to start with, 8 top colleges or universities. And now a few more are considered in the same league on the West Coast too. And these colleges are known for academic excellence. And interestingly, initially the league was based on athletic and sports performance, which means that doing well in sports does not necessarily mean that one can't do well in academics. The same set of universities which were on the top in sports and continue to be on the top in sports are now amongst those which are known for academic excellence. And besides that, naturally, they're highly competitive, and therefore the admissions are highly selective. Very few get into those colleges. Only a small percentage of those who apply. And they are also known for social elitism because these are expensive institutions, and therefore not all can afford to get into them, even if they want to. But all the same, I mean, financial support is frequently available for the really highly deserving ones. So in that sort of a scenario, and in India, again, we have a lot of competition for getting into the best of institutions like AIIMS and IITs and the IIMs. So these are, this competition is very stiff, and some of the same factors apply here too, except that some of the best institutions like AIIMS and IITs are government institutes, unlike the Ivy League institutions, which are all private and therefore very expensive. Here, the expenses are not that much. So with that little introduction, I think why don't you begin with the topic itself and sort of bring out how, and that's something which does not depend on how hard the child starts working when the child is in grade 9, but in fact a lot depends upon parenting in very early childhood.
Thank you for that introduction of the Ivy League colleges and putting it into context of, why this becomes an aspiration for so many families. I've seen it around the world. It's no matter where we are as parents, and I'm a parent and I'm a grandparent, I think we want our children to succeed in life. And that's not a bad goal. That's not a goal that we should shy away from. We want our children to have successful lives. When it comes to higher education or profession, there are perceptions and there are conditionings that maybe make it appear that if your child is a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, architect, these known professions, then they're doing very well in life. And I think maybe the conversation should start there, that maybe that is a misconception, that having a title like that brings you happiness, brings you success, and brings you what you want your children to have in life. So a lot of pressure gets put starting in the early years and all through the education, because parents feel that they need to do everything to get their child the best start in life, that they need to put them in extracurricular activities, they need to put them in math tutoring from like 2 and 3 years old. And it's just all this extra pressure. And I'm wondering what the end goal is. Like, what is the goal? Like, is the goal to get them into this college and then the goal is to get some title? Maybe it's helpful to pause and ask, working backwards, what is the goal that we want for our children? And maybe that would be a helpful conversation to start, versus thinking this title, this job, this college will give them what we wish our children would have. We want our children to be successful. But success is not defined with one definition. We know that. Success is very personal from individual perspectives. And there's a lot of research that's been done on happiness. So 2 words, right? Like happiness and success are the common things that most parents want for their children. And if we don't have a clear definition of that, how do we know where we're taking the life? How do we know how to align it? So I want to challenge that. This is the conversation I want us to have, to start with the end goal. What do we want our children to have in life? What's our role to getting them there? And what can we do very intentionally and purposefully? And what should we do very intentionally and purposefully and avoid? Like, maybe that is a good way to start with reflection versus saying, do this next 10 things, and then your child would be on the right track. What do you think, Doctor?
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Instead of starting at the end stage, or sort of the end in mind, let's see what actually we would expect our children to be and how we can do it, and then sort of see how far it's consistent with or compatible with also getting into an Ivy League institution.
Yeah, the thing with the myth about Ivy League colleges and getting certain jobs is that my child is smarter if they get into that. And some children's temperament is not designed to go to colleges. And so I also want us to remember that, we don't get to design the children we want. We don't get to design I want a really smart child, so I'm going to do baby Einstein with you. I'm going to put you in tutorial classes. I'm going to change your brain so that you're going to be an extremely smart person. They may be very smart, but the smart may show up in different ways. So we don't get to design this. This is 400 million billion, genetic influences from your entire family that influence that little human. As parents, we don't do that. There's a whole myth that, if we can engage the brain, then the brain is active and we can get the brain. The brain engagement is optimal at a certain capacity. Overdoing it doesn't do any more for the neurons. Underdoing it maybe doesn't connect the neurons and doesn't fire the neurons. But I think there's a lot of myth that we feel like if we can bring it in the environment, if I can influence it, I can make something happen for my child. And I think we need to accept the children we've been given. This is not a coincidence. This is by design. The children we've been given is because we needed to be their parent, and they're in our lives to teach us something, and we have to teach them. It's a co-learning. I'm a different grandmother than I was a mother. I didn't become a mother till my daughters came in my life, and each one of them is very different. They taught me different things about myself. This is not me teaching them. We're learning from each other. I think somebody's hand was there. I wasn't sure, Doctor, if you wanted to.
Yes, Dr. Harish Chaudhary. He's a professor at IIT. Delhi.
Hello.
Hello, Prerna. Yes, I am also, if I may say, a young grandparent. I have a 9-month-old granddaughter now.
Congratulations.
I like the Ofsted definition of school education. The objective of school education is to attempt. I would add the word attempt. They say attempt to make the child a happy, healthy, productive citizen. They put it in that order. But I come from a typical middle-class family of India, and my father, his objective was to make us productive, because getting a job, earning a living was very, very important, critical. But I think, if I may say, the upper middle class, where probably I belong now, we can focus a little more on happiness. Happy, healthy, productive citizen. And since I'm still teaching at IIT, I'm a professor. IITs are totally focused on, if I may say, productivity. And we struggle with the word citizenship. We still struggle with the word, can values be taught? Professor Bijlani has been helping us with our students a lot. But the primary focus is, at the end of the day, can they get a good job, or can they have a startup and earn a lot of money? We do know that money is not equal to happiness, but it's a little difficult to tell the children that.
I love the fact that, we want to start the conversation by attempting to give our children this happy, healthy, productive end goal. So if we take this apart, really, we want them to be mentally happy, like mentally well-being. So healthy has to be from the brain, the physical body, and the spiritual piece, right? Like there's 5 aspects of us being humans: physical, mental, social, emotional, and spiritual, right? These 5 aspects make us humans, and we want to make sure that our children and our families and our lives influence all 5 of them. And sometimes one gets forgotten and maybe the other gets more emphasis. A lot of the work that I've been doing. So I grew up in India. My dad was in the army, just for context. And I went to Loreto convents in India with Irish nuns. And the Irish nuns, the school that I remember growing up in India, and I've been gone a long time from India, was not joyful. It was very dry, and it was very based on memorizing. And now I've been doing early childhood for 40 years. And now fast forward, I want children to enjoy learning. The love of learning will take them further in life than memorizing. And to be totally honest, I don't know what I learned in all those years of 12 years of education in the Loreto convents, because it was all memorized and it didn't have an emotional connection. So I can't tell you that this resonated with me, which makes me wonder that if we want our children to be happy, happiness is not something that is a constant state, right? It's an emotion we experience. And I think it's better for us if we raise our children more emotionally intelligent with emotional literacy, which I didn't have growing up. I know my parents love me. I know I experienced the love, but we never mentioned emotions growing up. I had no idea this thing called emotions and feelings existed. So there's a whole aspect of being a human emotionally that we're not touching. We're just pretending it doesn't exist. Spiritually is very personal, it's very individual, and you have to decide how you meet that aspect in your own life and your own family. I can't speak to that, but what I do know is if it doesn't show up in our lives, we have this hollow feeling, we have this empty feeling. So if we want our children to be happy, I think we start very early with labeling the emotions, allowing them to experience the hard emotions, such as disappointment or embarrassment or jealousy or shame or shyness. Let them experience it versus getting uncomfortable with it and saying, oh no, let me just brush it really quickly. Let me distract you. Let me fill it up with something else. Because then we're not giving them life skills, because these are emotions they're going to experience throughout the life. And productive is to me, productive could be in so many ways, right? It's not just the tangible title and a job that makes you productive. Productive could be I'm an empathetic, caring person, and I'm using my time wisely. I'm making the most of my resources. That's productive too. So I think the definitions of what the world looks at as success with productivity is very tangible. You make X amount of dollars, you have a title, you have letters behind your name. That is what shows that you're productive and successful. And I want to challenge that. I want to say, no, you can be very productive as a housewife. You can be very productive as a manager. You can be very productive as a teacher. You could be very productive as a child. You finish the puzzle that you sat with. That's productive. You use the time wisely. So yeah, and of course money is important, and I don't want to shy away from it, because without money, life is very hard. So let's not pretend that we don't want it. Let's not pretend we don't need it. We want our children to be self-sufficient. We want our children to stand on their feet. We want them to be able to take care of their lives and families and not become dependent and contribute to the society. We want these things, right? Like, let's not pretend having money is a bad thing, because God forbid we didn't, it would be a very sad life. It would be very difficult. So money doesn't bring us happiness, but what money does do is it gives us opportunities to make the most of our time and our life on this earth. To leave a legacy, to have a meaningful life.
Thank you, Prerna. I think you have put the whole thing in perspective and given us a sense of balance. And also, what is more fundamental, parents have always and will continue to want their children to be happy. And just that they may not be always right in terms of what will make their children happy. That mistake could be, their view may be mistaken. But I think going back to the topic where we started, and what you brought out was that in the early childhood, what is important is not whether the child will get into an Ivy League institute. What is important is to find out what the child is really made for, what the strengths and weaknesses of the child are. And once that has been discovered, then only perhaps one should think in terms of what the academic goals for that child could reasonably be. Now, maybe you could dilate upon some of these things. Yeah.
Sure. I think that's really good. And, I would even add to saying, as parents, we want our children to be happy, and we do the best when we know the best, right? We do better when we know better. So it's not that we are making mistakes. It's not that we need to be so harsh on ourselves. I think we need to have grace on ourselves as parents. Parenting is the most difficult job and the most rewarding job. And after that comes teaching, and I'm a teacher at heart, right? Like, I'm an educator. Parenting is the most demanding and most rewarding. And all of us, I would say 90% of us, maybe there's 95% of us, are doing the best we know how. We want to give our children the best, right? And when we know better, we do better. So a couple of things that you were asking about, what can we do in the early childhood, even identifying what are their interests, exposing them to different things to see what their interests might be, versus saying, you need to do this. So I've met parents here. So I'm going to give you real examples, right? So I've met some Indian families in America, and this dad said to me, I need her to go. She's a daughter. And he says, I need her to go to the technical colleges because that's where the money is. He's in the accounting finance field, and he wants her daughter to do this because, and she's a creative person, and she has no interest in numbers, and he is drilling and killing, and he's signed her up for courses because he's forcing her. And he says, there's no room for creativity. Creativity doesn't pay you. She can't live like this. And what I see is her spirit being squished because she really wants to be creative. And she, of course, wants to be successful, of course, wants to have that. But I think leaning into, is it my dream or is it their dream? Is it going to bring me happiness and pride? Is it going to make me a proud father or mother if my child does this? Or is it more important that I support them in discovering what they were meant to contribute? Because I do believe all children are born capable and intelligent, and they have a purpose in life. And if we can facilitate this rather than taking over. So in the early years, we know that play is very powerful. And I think most grown-ups don't give emphasis enough to playing. Playing is something that kids do while the grown-ups do important, busy things in life, and play is just busy work over there. There's a new library opened here near Frisco, and I was there last weekend with my grandchildren. This is a massive library, massive library. It felt like a city to me. And this is in a community where there's a lot of Indian families. It's in Frisco, Texas. And I would say 80% of the people there were Indians, and they, were clearly, this library was here in this neighborhood, which is great, which is amazing. And I observed so many dads that had maybe been asked by their wives to take the children out of the house for the day so they could have some peace. And the dads had taken them to this pretend library area where the kids were playing. And they just stood to the side, and they were just on their phone, and they were not engaged. Nobody was on the floor being available for the play. And some of the kids were taking some things to their dad. And this dad, I remember specifically, he was just standing looking very bored on the side with the phone in his hand. And when the little guy gave him some food, he just took it and he put it back on the shelf. He didn't engage in that little interaction. And this is what I would say as a parent and as educator, as grandparents, make yourself available. Time, give them the gift of time. Make yourself available. Children's pace is much slower than our pace. Slow down, get down on their level. And you don't have to do anything. Just make yourself available, and the play will progress. And those are the memories that children will keep in their hearts. They're not going to remember all the numbers and letters and colors and shapes that you're forcing them to learn. Human connection is where the magic lies. It's all about relationships, authentic relationships. Give them real memories, play board games with them, make yourself available, just be present, and then see the magic happening, right? They will giving them the confidence that you believe in them, giving them the support in the sense of not do whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you. You can do it. No, I think when they trust us, when there's a relationship, they want to talk to us. They want to listen to us. They want to learn from us. But we also have to learn from them. We also have to listen to them. We also have to respect them. Respect doesn't mean ego, though. Yeah. I don't know if I'm answering the question, doctor.
You've given very valuable tips for how the initial sort of bond, the parent-child bond should be established in an atmosphere of trust and uh, acknowledging that the parents also have a lot to learn from the children. So that is the type of atmosphere that we have to build up so that the child feels loved, wanted, respected, and uh, can knows that at least this is one individual to whom I can turn no matter what.
If it doesn't start in the early years, and I'm talking about early years, birth to 8, right? Like that lays the foundation. And we know this, right? Most people know this. 90% of brain development happens by age 5. Think about this. 90% of brain development is happening by age 5. Most of us don't know about this. So children are depending on the grown-up to wire my brain correctly. And if that grown-up doesn't know anything about the brain development, then good luck to us. Right? So whoever we are today, so there's a sentence I like to use: what happens early in life lasts a lifetime. What happens early in life lasts a lifetime. If you want to know what's going to happen at age 80, lay the foundation in the first 5 years so that we're giving them a growth mindset. They're resilient, they're problem solving, they're critical thinkers, they're creative thinkers, they're empathetic, they're compassionate. They are problem solvers so that they're not dependent, and they have self-esteem and they have confidence. Like all of these things that make us who we are is more important than any other skill that's going to take them further in life, right? So the person we are today, all of us are coming on this platform from different backgrounds, different age groups. The person we are today, our foundation was laid birth to 5. If you're successful in life today, thank somebody from your childhood. They did good. They did good. And if you're struggling in life today, blame somebody from your childhood. I mean, even the blame is hard because they did the best they knew how. So if that is the case, if we want trusting relationships with our children, if they say you should become friends with your children, but not till after their 25th birthday, right? Like till then, you need to be the parent. You're the only parent they have. After age 25, you can become friends because you've done your job, you've given them the foundation, and you're good to go. But that's not going to happen. A teenager is not going to come and talk to you if you didn't lay the foundation in the first few years when you were present for them, when you were available for them, and they could trust you. So yeah, the early years are quite critical.
Actually, what you said was really a sort of a gem. What happens early in life lasts a lifetime. And this applies to both positive things that happen and also to negative things, because now childhood trauma as a determinant of what all problems occur in later adulthood. Not only the child doesn't do well academically, but also psychological issues, sometimes also developing criminal tendencies. All this has been linked to early childhood trauma and abuse. So certainly, I
Trauma
mean,
is
that
a
is
real thing.
Mm.
Trauma is real. And some secondary trauma happens, right? Like if your needs were not met when you were younger, then your brain is traumatized. And of course, you can come out of trauma. I've done a lot of work with trauma-informed care here in Dallas. You can come out of trauma, but it takes so much determination. It takes therapy, it takes work. It's easier to raise it right than to have to fix it, later in life. And the thing with trauma is that it changes your brain. So the way I think of trauma is you have a mirror, like you normally have a mirror and you can see yourself in the mirror, you see a whole image. But with trauma, what happens is that mirror is shattered. So the image is not complete. When you look in a shattered mirror, the image is broken and their perspective is different. So I'm not saying trauma is an excuse for anything in life, but trauma helps us to understand where it's coming from. Most of us don't associate trauma with a very strict, controlling, and compliance-driven grown-up in our life. And now there's research that says that's linked to that. So I told you I was raised in an army family. We were very strict at home. We were very strict at school. I was raised with all of that. As much as my parents loved me, it was very strict. And there was a phrase in school that I still remember, pin drop silence. Pin drop silence is a thing. Like, it's a thing in India. And what must that feel like from a child's brain? They're not allowed to speak. They're not allowed to contribute. They're nothing. They don't mean anything. They don't have anything value to add. That is just the grown-up's job to pour stuff in. Like, it's just so interesting to me. So with that background, I became a very strict mother. I was a very strict mother, and I was a very strict teacher. When I started my teaching career 41 years ago, I was a very strict teacher. And I didn't know, of course I loved them. My daughters are fine, my grandchildren are fine. I've apologized to them. I'm so sorry. When you know better, you do better. Now I've learned in this season of life, if you want the compliance, if you want the children to listen to you, you got to up the connection. It's like a weighing scale. On one side is connection, one side is compliance. I see families, American, Indian, Hispanic, doesn't matter which culture, the parents are constantly correcting their kids. Don't do that. Sit down. Stop it. Don't do that. Put that away. Turn around. Face this. It's like, oh my goodness, I have done that. You are spending so much time correcting the child, you're forgetting to connect. And I know that parents are doing this thinking, this is the way I show love. I care about them. So of course I have to correct them. It's my job to correct them. But you forgot the connection piece. So now I've changed my mindset. Now I feel like the more you connect, the less you correct. The more you connect, the less you correct. You have deposited in their emotional bank. They're more likely to listen to you. They're more likely to respect you because you're not giving them command and demand all day long. When is it that you see me as a good human? When is it that I'm not making a mistake? Because you keep telling me always to do something that I'm not doing or change what I'm doing. Like, so much correction is happening. And are we surprised kids are not listening now? Are we surprised?
One of the important things that good parenting needs is time. As you said, I mean, we have to find time to be with the children. Now, in this, in relation to this, I mean, how would you look at a stay-at-home mom versus working mothers?
So I have two daughters. One of them is a stay-at-home mom, and one of them is a working mom. So I have 4 grandchildren. So both of them have 2 children. And here's what I would tell you. What makes the mom happy, content? Where does she feel she's adding value and respect? What does the mom feel about this? I don't want somebody on the outside to impose this on the mom. If the mom wants to stay at home and it brings her joy and happiness and she wants to be there, then she should do that. But if the mom really wants to be working and she is miserable being at home and she's feeling taken for granted or overused, and she's just like, you know, she's invisible because she does everything behind the scenes, the energy she's going to bring is going to become resenting to the child, is going to become a burden, and that's not what's going to bring happiness to the family. So what's more important is make the decision that makes sense for your family. If the mom is working, then give her the support. It's not about being available 24/7. It's about being, when you're together, you're giving quality time. It's not quantity time, because even if you're at home all day together and you're on your phone and you're miserable that you're stuck at home, you're not connecting, you're not available, you're just there, right? So I don't think it's to do with whether you're at home or working. If you've made a choice to have children, you need to make time for them. You need to figure out a way to balance your day so that you are available. Even a 5-minute cuddle on the bed, my grandchildren call it the chit chat time. So when the two heads are on the pillow together and you're chit-chatting about the day, 10 minutes of that is more powerful than you being all day together and you really haven't connected with them. All you've done is correct them. All you've done is tell them what they're doing wrong and what they should do right and stop it and don't do it. That's not going to meet the needs emotionally. That's not going to meet the needs for mental well-being. So yeah, it's I don't think it's as simple as that. And I don't think as a society we get to make a decision what works for that family. I think that family has to decide financially. We need two working parents. Okay, then it's our job, father, mother. We figure it out together. We have this family. Yeah, that's my opinion on that. I mean, they get to make the choice.
But somehow these days the trend is towards a work culture in which the work-life balance is getting tilted more and more in favor of work rather than
100%.
life. And
100%. Yeah,
so
100%. And
then, I
this
mean,
is
the career and also in the competition, women generally have to prove themselves and work twice as hard or twice as good, twice as well
yeah.
to be able to compete at the workplace. So in that scenario, I mean, sometimes if the woman is very career oriented, very ambitious in terms of her career, would it not really reduce the quantity to such an extent that no matter how good the quality, just quality time can't compensate entirely for the quantity?
Well, so let's look at this a little bit more closely. Like this is the society expectation, right? We don't use these same words for men, right? Like if men are ambitious, we don't say there's something wrong with them. If a woman is talented, she is worked hard in school, but again, remember it was the parents who got them in this track of doing well. They needed them to get them right. So the parents got her into this college. They were cheering her on as she was succeeding. And then she gets married, and the other side of the family doesn't respect this journey that she's put the work in. She's done the hard work. And why I feel like a family works when both husband and wife are available for the children and support each other. I think it's unfair to expect women to work, to run the home, to be a mother, and we don't have the same expectations from the dad. So I would, maybe I'm ruffling the feathers, but maybe that is worth talking about, that if we want our homes and family lives to be safe havens, and if we want our family lives to bring us joy, then it takes both parents and grandparents and extended family to support them, to be there for them, instead of just saying, well, you're too ambitious and you're too career oriented. But somehow her journey, what happened to her in early in life? Her parents were pushing her too, right? How did she get there? How did she get this job? Because she was on this track. So let's support her and let's cheer her on and let's make it's doable. I mean, I see almost everybody here in America is dual family. I'm a working grandparent. I'm still working. I own my own business. And I don't get the time with the grandchildren all the time. I'm not staying home taking care of them. And I look forward to them. When I see them, we enjoy, right? Like, so I think maybe the challenge is on us. Instead of blaming the women, I think the challenge is as a society to support working women, to help them be successful, instead of saying, you are so career oriented and you're neglecting your family. Okay, help me. Instead of blaming me, help me. Together we will do it better, right? Together we are better. And I think the families that are successful, because I see them all around me, I see amazing successful families, and I also see stressed out mothers and, who are not getting the support. So here's the thing. If you have children, you got to make time for them. That's it. You got to make time for them, because they're going to carry these memories in their hearts. Every child deserves a childhood. Give them a childhood that has memories that you spend time with them. Go to the park. It doesn't take any money, but you have to be available on the weekend. Like, you got to make time. Instead of cleaning the house, I've done this. I'm talking about myself. I've spent so many years cleaning the house and cooking and cleaning, and instead I should have spent the time on the weekend with the children, because the cleaning is for the rest of my life, but their childhood is so little. I don't
Yes,
know
I
if
think,
that is.
no, having the right priorities, because a little dust here and there will not matter in the long run. What matters is the time for the child.
You know, I
And
learned this from my daughters. So I learned this from my daughters. I spent, remember, I told you I was a very strict mother. So running a house was so important to me, and everything had to be in its right place, and the kitchen had to be done. I've done this. I was this mother. And then I saw my daughters when they became mothers, the kitchen sink wasn't done, and they were out in the park on the weekend with their daughters. I'm like, what a concept. I could have done that. And they're like, I wish you had, Mom. I'm like, oh my God, if I could go back and redo anything, if I could go back and redo, which life doesn't allow you redos. So if you're a young parent listening to me right now, this is your chance. If you have the weekends, even if you're working, make the weekend about family. Put your family as a priority on the weekend. Leave the dishes, go spend time with them, get on the floor, play with them, cuddle them, read to them, snuggle with them. Not all weekend, but make it a time. When is it that it's kids' time on your calendar, right? We put meetings everywhere. Put the kids on your calendar. Put yourself on the calendar. If you don't take care of you, you can't take care of them. So it's not to feel guilty if you go get your nails done. Take care of you so you feel good about yourself. Then you'll be happy to be with the kids, right? Put yourself on the calendar. Put your kids on the calendar. Put your husband on the calendar. Spend time with him. You got married. Enjoy this, right? It's not just all work, work, work. You're going to spend your life with an organization, and we're all indispensable. You'll be gone. You'll be replaced. They'll find somebody else. Work will go on. But you got to make the right priorities on your calendar. You only all have 24 hours in the day. You got to make time for you. You got to make time for the right things in your life.
And making time for the child or children applies to both the mother and the father, to both the parents, not just the
Yes.
mother.
Yes.
That's
You
important.
know, I just thought of this. This may be a helpful tip for anybody listening. There's something called the 9-minute magic. So I don't know if you people have heard of it or not, but this is a tip that I've given to families before. 9-minute magic per child, per child. So I'm going to think two parents, two children. Every day. 3 minutes in the morning. So take child one. So mom and a child, dad and the child. The minute they wake up, for the first 3 minutes, when their eyes open, pour love into them. Just pour love into them. What do we normally do? We start with the laundry list. Brush your teeth, change your pajamas, get up, have breakfast. The laundry list just starts the minute their eyes open. What I'm saying is pause. 3 minutes is a really short time. It's doable. For those 3 minutes, I want you to be fully available for that child, one-on-one. And whether this is coming up with a morning ritual between you and your child, whether this is snuggling, cuddling, just holding, looking into their eyes, whatever it is, just be available, be natural, and something cute, morning ritual, love ritual will develop between you and your child. Dad does it to one, mom does it to one. And then you send them off to school, you go to work. In the afternoon, when you pick them up, do the same thing again, 3 minutes. 3 minutes before you come and you start cooking and cleaning and yelling orders to everybody else. Just pause, 3 minutes, reconnect. You were gone, I was gone, I missed you, come and give me a hug. And then 3 minutes at night when you're tucking them into bed. This can transform relationships. 9 minutes a day per parent, per child. If you have multiple children, then figure out a way how you're going to give this to each child. There's a whole science behind this. And the research shows when parents and grandparents, and I do this with my grandchildren. I have a little sing song when I see my grandchildren. You've been gone, you've been missed. Where would you like your welcome back kiss? Our oldest granddaughter is 12. Our youngest one is 2. I've been playing this game ever since she was born. And now it's a thing. It's an I love you ritual with her. So when I see her, we reconnect. And I do it with each one of them. And we have this little moment. You've been gone. You've been missed. Where would you like your welcome back kiss? When you see them in the afternoon, when you see them at night, having dinner together, asking simple questions. what was challenging today? What brought you joy today? What made you proud today? What did you do today that you didn't know yesterday? What did you learn today? Like open-ended questions with children, connecting. This is not a whole lot of time. This is not a whole lot of to do. This is not read a book, do this. It's going back to the basics of connecting with our heart. It's going back to the basics of strong relationships and connections. The world that we're living in right now, it is really a tough time. There's so much stress. And I'm really on a mission right now to change stress to joy. And joy is a choice. And these things that I shared with you are not very time consuming. They're intentional, they're purposeful. If you really want to do something, if that's your goal, I want to have a strong, trusting relationship with my child, no matter their age. That's your goal. Your brain will figure it out. You're very smart. You'll figure out ways to make that happen. You just got to make it a priority.
You talked about the 9-minute magic in relation to one child, two children, and more than two children, and so on. On the whole, do you think a single child can grow as normally or takes extra effort to raise a single child normally as compared to when the child has at least one sibling?
Yeah, there's a lot of research on that, right? Like the only child, the eldest child, the pressure that it puts on the child. Of course, it's easier financially, it's easier to meet their emotional and social needs, it's easier. But I think from a child's perspective, it could be lonely, and it could also put a lot of pressure because as parents get older, then it's that one child is the expected child to take care and be there. So again, it's every individual family decision. My sister only has one son. Everybody else, we all have two. And he's a neurologist, a head of a department, doing really well. And he makes time for his mom, and he's there. It's just, I think it's individual. It's not good or bad. It's just different. And if that's all you're destined to have, or that's all you choose to have, then enjoy that. And if you have more, then that's good. So I don't know if these rules are just, I think it's what you do in the family. I think it's how the relationship works. It could go both ways. It could be a complete joy, or it could be a lot of stress and a lot of pressure. It could be lonely, but then you could have cousins and you can compensate the loneliness. So I don't know if I have a generic.
I mean, does it affect in any way the child's willingness to share, to accept a no, to accept?
It's again the exposure, right? So if I have an only child, then I'm going to put them in a preschool. I'm going to put them in social environments where they're going to learn the concept of sharing. Even at home, I'm going to have to hold boundaries and say, no, I'm sorry, no means no. And I think it's okay to discipline our children. It's okay to say no. I think we're also scared of saying no to our kids these days because they will not like us. Well, our job is not for them to like us. Our job is to let them live the life with life skills. And so no is real. I understand you feel disappointed. I understand you didn't like me saying no, but you can deal with it. I understand it's a tough emotion for you. Disappointment is a tough emotion, but look, you're more capable than you can imagine. You can handle this. You can handle disappointment. You got this, and I'm here for you, right? So no, I don't know if they will never learn to share, and they'll never learn other people's perspective if we don't expose it to them. You could have 4 kids in the house and they would all be selfish, or they would all have such big egos and they're so rude and they don't have manners, and that's not fun. That's not fun.
Before we wind up with your last words, let's throw it open to discussion. And before that, Arunima might have some questions in the chat. Maybe she can have a look at that. Arunima, are there any questions in the chat?
Not so far.
Not so far. And anyone wants to ask a question?
May I?
Yes, but is it a question or a comment?
No question.
Okay, so because we should give priority to questions.
Any tips for grandparents?
Yes, make time for them. When they come, be available. Don't do busy work when they come. Be available, read to them, play with them, sing to them. Do what makes your heart happy. So when my husband spent time with the grandchildren, music is his thing. So he has exposed them to music. So when they come, he enjoys music with them. He's also very good with woodworking. So he's got all the 4 grandkids in the woodworking area. He gives them real tools. So whatever your interest and passion is, share that with your grandchildren. That will become a special treat because they'll only get that from you. That becomes a special I love you ritual with you because you're sharing your passions with them. And at early, yeah, you said a 9-month-old granddaughter. Yes, she is very ready to explore your passions with you. She's very ready to learn from you. She's very ready to have one-on-one time with you and one-on-one time with your wife because it'll be a different experience. Enjoy it is what I would say. Enjoy it. It's the best.
Participants, anyone else has a question or anything to share? Please go ahead.
Maybe I ask one question. When we have been assuming that there is a sort of at least peace and harmony in the family, but in cases where there's a marital disharmony, then how is it that the parents can still raise the children well? And what would be the point where it might be better for the child to be with a single parent rather than be with both the parents?
These are the times we're living in, right? And not all marriages are going to succeed. We know this, right? And we also know the stress that it generates and the trauma that it generates when the grown-ups are not mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, psychologically safe and enjoying life. So again, it's a family decision and keeping the child in mind. I would say it's not worth staying together if you're not happy and you're miserable and you're fighting all the time, because the tension in the house and the stress in the house is more traumatizing for everybody just to be together for the sake of the child. You're actually doing more damage than you would if you could separate and the child would feel loved and happy in both places. It's really important if separation happens or divorce happens to explain to the child that it's not their fault. Children internalize it as they did something wrong, no matter the age of the child. I think it's really important to make that clear that this is a grown-up decision. We have grown apart. We own this. This has nothing to do with you. And we're sorry that we're putting you through this. Even preschoolers will understand this and set it up for success, that you get to do fun things over here and you get to do fun things over here. And this is how we do it over here. And it, as tough as it is for children to adapt to different homes, because when there's a separation and divorce, then they may not see some grandparents and they may miss those grandparents. And I think from the child's perspective, if they want to stay in those grandparents' life and the grandparents want them in their lives, then make arrangements for it. Get over the grown-up ego. Think of the child. Put the child first. I think just advocating for being honest I think is really important. Saying things to children, I'm fine, everything is fine. And children are like emotional detectors. They can sense it. Their antennas go up like, is she really fine? She's saying fine. Is that what fine looks like? So they also learn to then bury their emotions, right? So children are more resilient than we give them credit for. Be honest with them as much as you can share. Don't blame them. Take the blame. Also tell them what to expect. Tell them you will always be their mom. You will always be their dad. That'll not change, right? Like reassurance is important. if that's possible. If one of the parents is not going to be in the child's life, then that's a different conversation, right? So I just think children are capable and intelligent, and let's talk to them. Let's not shelter them from everything, because they're sensing something. It's creating some kind of insecurity. It's better to talk about it than to pretend it doesn't happen. Somebody has a hand up.
Yes.
Sonal, you have raised the hand. Please go ahead.
Yes. Hello, ma'am. So I am a young educator, and so one thing that I am currently learning, and I want to see clarity from you is about the concept of boundaries. So, like in my day-to-day classroom interaction, sometimes it so happens that some children they respond very rudely to you or inappropriately. So sometimes your immediate response as a teacher is so like I'm also learning. I reply back, but sometimes I think I should have been silent at that moment. I should have given space to that child. And like today hearing your like this talk, and we also had uh, parent facilitator interactions today in our school also. So a lot of things that you mentioned there, and like parents also come, like we keep on calling the child is not coming. We, and in the classroom also I say that sometimes we are requesting the child ki, okay, let's pay attention here, but the child is busy in something else. So how do we deal with such day-to-day scenarios?
Great question. Great question. Tell me the ages of children you work with.
So I am in so I'm working with grade 3 children. They are 8 years old.
Okay, so 8, they're pretty grown up. Okay, so a couple of things you mentioned. I'll take the not listening first, because that was the last thing, and then I'll work backwards. The not listening is really, it's a big trigger. It's a big trigger for me too. I can't stand it when kids ignore me. I can't stand it when kids are rude to me. Like, that is not going to work for me, right? Like, I have to really, I get triggered. I really have to manage this. So one of the tricks that I've learned is that we're using the sense of sound a lot with children at home and at school. The command and demand is a lot, which is the sense of sound, right? Like we're barking orders a lot at the kids, and the kids have just tuned us out. They are not even listening, because the barrage of words that are given to them, their brains can't process. So here's what I've learned: leaning into 2 other senses. So now we're going to lean into 3 senses. If I really want a child to listen, because I know not being heard is going to get me all triggered and stressed out. So I don't want to deal with that, because I don't want to get stressed out. So I'm going to walk over to the child. So that's already close enough. Now I'm going to do eye contact. So there's sight and there's touch. I'm going to put my hand on the shoulder. So I'm going to make eye contact with the child and the touch, and then I'm going to say what I need to say. And for good measure, I'm going to ask them to repeat back to me, what did you hear me say? Now I know you heard me. Now I know you didn't just ignore me, and you were not on planet Mars and I was left on Earth talking to you. We're on the same planet. We're connected. Okay, we need to put away this. The math assignment is finished. I need you to finish doing this. What did you hear me say? They're going to repeat back, and I'm going to stay there till the process starts with them moving back. The message I'm sending to this child, I don't need to become mean about it. I don't need to become rude about it. The message I'm sending to this child is ignoring is not a choice. I'm not going to ignore you when you talk to me. I am also not going to have you ignore me when I'm talking to you. So I might have to have a classroom meeting with 8-year-olds. I can have a classroom meeting, and I might bring this problem to them, and I might say, I am noticing that there's lots of ignoring happening in this classroom. Let's label the emotion. It's ignoring. I'm noticing there's a lot of ignoring happening in this classroom. When I am speaking, you're ignoring. You are talking to each other and you're ignoring itself. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? And maybe I'm going to spend some time writing down their responses. How does that make them feel? And then what ideas do you have? Because we're not going to do life like this. We are spending a lot of time together. What are we going to do different? What am I going to do different? What are you going to do different? Again, it's a collective, collaborative space, because in the school family, I have the kids and I have me. We're in this together. So it's not my problem, it's our problem. So I'm going to take it to them. We're going to come up with a solution. And then based on their ideas, you will be surprised. They will have some really good ideas, and I will have some good ideas. And I might share. The next time I need your attention, I'll walk over to you and I'll make eye contact. So they know what to expect, right? Let's give it a try. Let's try it for a couple of days. If we need to come back to the thinking table again to figure out if this is working or not. So two things are happening. One, I'm showing them I'm in it with them. Second, I'm respecting them. And third, it's our problem because we want joy in our classroom, not stress. I have done this with individual children. In fact, I've had this conversation with my grandchildren because I can't stand ignoring. So we were sitting at the dining table, and I think she was 3 years old at the time. And I was talking to her to finish her food because I remember I was the compliance mother and the grandmother. So I have to still work on that. So I'm telling her to finish. She's ignoring me. And I can feel my blood pressure rising. And my daughter is standing right there. She knows, she listens to me. I raised her, right? It's the grandkids now I have to work with. And so literally, I'm like, I turned my face over here. At one point, I'm talking to her, and I turned my face over here. And then at some point, she realized I wasn't listening to her. So she came over and she's like, Ummi, 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 Ummi. Finally, I turned back and I said, so I was talking to you and you were ignoring me. It's called ignoring. And then you were talking to me and I was ignoring you. How did it make you feel? And she says, yucky. I said, that's right. We're not doing this. We're not going to be yucky to each other. So that's one way to make them to listen. The other was what did you say? Rudeness, right? Rudeness was the other thing.
The boundaries. Boundaries was another. Boundaries was another thing that she's.
So give me an example of the boundaries. What is that in reference to?
Sometimes like we are saying no to the child, but the child is not ready to listen. They'll still keep on doing that. They'll go out of the classroom, walk out of the classroom. Okay, what can you do about it?
So instead of focusing on just telling them to do something, start changing your approach. Instead of just saying, stop doing this, I want you to start say, hey, I noticed. So these are my favorite 5 sentences. I describe what I see. I see that you have not put away the books yet. I hear you're using really rude words right now. I notice you are not on task, right? Describe what you see. So see, hear, notice, understand. Understand is really powerful. I understand you're not ready to stop playing. I understand you're not ready to do this, but this is what we're doing right now. Understand doesn't mean I'm giving you permission. Understand means I acknowledge and I validate, but that's not what's choice right now, right? Quite a few times the children will escalate because they don't feel understood. So give it to them. And the last one is my favorite one. I wonder if you don't feel well right now. I wonder if this embarrassed you that I'm calling you out. I wonder, right? And walking out of the classroom could also be flight. Like flight with survival brain is avoidance, right? So instead of just saying, put it away, stop it. Again, you're focusing on correcting, and I'm asking you to connect. Use these 5 sentences to connect. Hey, I noticed that I've asked you to stop playing with the puzzles and you're still doing it. What's going on? What's going on? Right? I'm asking what is going on, and chances are they're going to tell me whatever it is, we're going to follow it, but I'm going to hold ground. I'm going to hold boundary. No, that's not a choice right now. I understand you want to do it. You can do it later. What that does is it allows them to not just get into a power struggle with the grown-ups. Children have mastered the art of power struggles with grown-ups because they're getting it 24/7. They're getting it at home, they're getting it in school. And I think the secret lies in not getting into power struggles, but understanding your perspective, but still saying, I understand you want to do that. That's not a choice right now. You can do it later. And I really don't want to repeat it again. What's going on? Like I'm asking what's going on instead of just stop it, right? We're not ever asking the kids' perspective. Like, what is going on here? Does that help?
Very much. Thank you so much. Like the 5-finger thing that you mentioned, like it totally
Game
shifts
changer.
my
It's a game.
perspective.
Yeah, it's a game changer. I have a YouTube channel, Together We Grow .online. Like Together We Grow 108.
Yeah.
5-7 minutes brain videos. There's lots of little tips in there that, the ones that I'm sharing right now are in some of those videos somewhere.
Thank you so much.
Of course, all the best. Being a teacher is good, hard work.
Yes, in a 1 hour session, we can't get everything that
I know.
you can give, but this YouTube channel, Together We Grow. Maybe Arunima, you can also
I can put
find
it in
it
the
out
chat.
and put the link in the
Yeah, let
chat.
me do it. I'll
Prerna.
give it to you in the chat right now. I'll give you the link to it right now. The YouTube channel, I'm also on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. Lots of tips are being posted on that. There's a website that you can go to, Together We Grow, which has all these resources. All right, here is the YouTube channel. They're little videos. They're not very big, long things, and you don't have to watch it. You can just listen to it. You don't need to see me. All right, so that's the YouTube channel. And then the website is togetherwegrow.online. And you can find the Instagram and the Facebook resources there. There's lots of resources I'm posting all the time for free. So hope it helps.
Thank you so much, Prerna, for this interesting and enlightening session. We're truly grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope it was helpful. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Before we let Prerna go, would you like to give, as it's currently fashionable to say, 3 most important tips for parents, or it can be less than 3, more than 3. I mean, that doesn't matter, but sort of.
The first tip is definitely connect before you correct.
Very good.
Change your
Yes.
mindset, start
Worth
connecting
repeating.
with, yeah. The
Worth
second
repeating.
tip is give them the gift of time. Time is limited. We all have the same amount. You just have to, there's a whole concept about rocks. Remember the rock concept? You put your most important rocks in the bottle first. And whatever that is, work, family, kids, husband, wife, whatever it is, put the big rocks first. And then you put the little rocks, things that can be left, and then you fill it up with sand, right? It's flipping your mindset. It's reminding your brain that, yes, I need to succeed at work, but then I need to put boundaries. When I come home at 6 o'clock, I'm not going to check my emails. Like, you got to put some boundaries for yourself. So time, the gift of time, by practically bookending your work life, and weekends are for family. Don't overbook it with other things. And the third tip is have grace. Have grace for yourself, grace for others. And we are putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. Mom guilt is real. Grandma guilt is real. I'm not sure if dads feel the same way, but maybe they do too. I've talked to enough mothers to know that guilt is real. So have grace on yourself. You're doing the best you know how, and when you know better, you do better. That's it. Like, you just got to begin where you are. And nobody's going for perfectionism. I used to really aim for perfectionism. I'm a type A person. I'm really driven. And now in this season of life, I'm realizing good enough is what I'm going for. Perfectionism is a myth. Perfectionism creates a lot of stress. It's not worth it. And good enough grandmother, good enough mother, good enough educator. And life is so much better if I just take the pressure off that I'm trying to be perfect, because I can't. It's too much. The bar is too high.
Thank you so much, Prerna. Really
you.
wonderful.
Thank you. So before we close today's session, let me inform that the recording of the session and all the Yes Talks that we have are published on our YouTube channel, Yes Spirituality. You can visit the channel and explore more content on yoga, education, spirituality, and related subjects like psychology and wellness.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your valuable time and wisdom that you shared with us. And participants, thank you for being with us today. We'll close today's session now with a moment of peaceful silence. Namaste.